The dust on Kepler 442b had not been disturbed for 200 years. Commander Junho Park stepped carefully through the ruins of what used to be humanity's most secret research base. His boots left deep prints in the red soil as he moved between twisted metal and broken concrete. "Readings are strange here," said Mina Kim, checking her scanner. The engineer frowned at the numbers on her screen. "There's some kind of energy signature coming from underground." Daewon Lee adjusted his weapon and looked around nervously. "This place gives me bad feelings. Why would anyone build a base this far from Earth? Because they wanted to hide something," answered Sun Hee Choi. The scientist was already taking samples of the strange plants that grew around the ruins. "Look at these. They're not native to this planet." Junho had read the old files before coming here. Project Phantom Arrow was supposed to be humanity's answer to the alien threat. 200 years ago, when the Val-3 Empire first attacked human colonies, Earth's best scientists worked day and night to build something that could fight back. According to the records, they built a prototype warship here, Junho said, but it was destroyed when the base was evacuated. Mina's scanner started beeping faster. "Sir, you need to see this. The energy signature is getting stronger as we go toward the center of the base." They walked past broken laboratories and empty living quarters. Everything looked like people had left in a hurry. Personal items were scattered on floors, and meals were left half-eaten on tables. "What made them leave so quickly?" asked Daewon. "The Val-3 found this place," Sun Hee said, pointing to blast marks on the walls. "But these weapon marks, they're from human guns, not alien ones." Junho stopped walking. "They were shooting at each other?" "Maybe some people wanted to stay and fight," Mina suggested. Others wanted to run. The scanner's beeping became so fast it almost sounded like a single tone. Mina held it up and pointed toward a large metal door built into the ground. "Whatever it is, it's right under us." The door had no handle, no buttons, no way to open it. But as they got closer, blue lights began to glow along its edges. "It's scanning us," whispered Daewon, raising his weapon. "Wait," said Junho. "Let it scan." A voice came from speakers they could not see. It sounded tired, like someone who had been sleeping for a very long time. Human life signs detected. "Welcome back. I have been waiting." The door slid open with a soft hiss. Cool air rushed out, carrying the smell of metal and machinery. Steps led down into darkness, but lights began to turn on as they watched. "Who are you?" Junho called out. "I am Arya 7, Artificial Intelligence of the HSS Sejong. I have been maintaining minimal power for 203 years, 4 months, and 16 days. Mina's eyes went wide. "The Sejong? But that ship was destroyed." "Negative. I am fully operational and awaiting orders." They walked down the steps into a huge underground chamber, and there, sitting in a cradle of support beams and power cables, was the most beautiful ship any of them had ever seen. The Sejong was not like other human ships. Its hull seemed to shimmer and change color as they looked at it. It was smooth like liquid metal, but they could see weapons and engines that looked far more advanced than anything in the current human fleet. "This is impossible," breathed Sun Hee. "How is it in perfect condition after 200 years? "I have maintained all systems," Arya 7 answered. "The ship is ready for immediate deployment." Daewon walked around the ship, staring up at its curved hull. "It's huge. How many people does it need?" The Sejong was designed for a crew of 12 but can operate with as few as 6 if necessary. 6 people to run a ship this size? Mina could not believe it. Junho was studying the ship's design. Something about it looked familiar but also completely alien. "Area 7, what weapons does this ship carry?" "I am equipped with void cannon arrays, quantum torpedo launchers, and adaptive defense grids. All systems are experimental and classified beyond your current security level." "We're the only humans here," said Junho. "What's our security level now?" There was a pause. "Scanning. Emergency protocols activated. Upgrading Commander Park to Alpha level clearance. All classified systems are now available for review." Suddenly, the chamber filled with holographic displays showing the ship's technical details. Mina ran from screen to screen, her mouth hanging open at what she saw. "These engine designs, they're at least 50 years ahead of anything we have now. And these weapons." She stopped and looked at Junho with fear in her eyes. "Sir, this ship could destroy an entire fleet by itself." "That was the intention," said a new voice. They turned to see a section of the ship's hull sliding open. A ramp extended down to the floor, and a man in an old military uniform walked out. He looked like he was in his 50s with gray hair and tired eyes. Captain Tai Min Yoon, commanding officer of the HSS Sejong. He saluted Junho. I've been in cryogenic sleep since the evacuation. Area 7 woke me when she detected your arrival. Captain, the records say this ship was destroyed, said Junho. The records lie. Taemin looked at his ship with pride and sadness. We couldn't let the Veil 3 know what we had built. So we faked its destruction and hid it here. Why? Asked Sunhee. Because we knew they would come back. And when they did, we wanted to have a surprise waiting for them. Alarms began to sound from Mina's equipment. She looked at her long-range scanner and her face went pale. Sir, we have a problem. I'm detecting massive energy signatures approaching this system. Ships. Lots of them. Area 7's voice filled the chamber. Long-range sensors confirm. Veil 3 Grand Fleet detected. 12,000 vessels strong. Estimated arrival at Earth in 72 hours. The chamber fell silent except for the hum of machinery. 12,000 ships? Whispered Day 1. Captain Taemin looked at his small group of visitors. It seems our wait is over. The question is, are you ready to save humanity? Junho looked at the impossible ship, then at his crew, then back at the old captain who had been sleeping for 2 centuries. What do we need to do? Taemin smiled for the first time since waking up. We need to remember what it means to be human, and then we need to show these aliens why that was their biggest mistake. The lights on the Sejong grew brighter, as if the ship itself was waking up and getting ready for battle. The inside of the Sejong was nothing like any human ship Junho had ever seen. The walls seemed alive, with soft blue light flowing through them like veins. The corridors were wide and curved, feeling more organic than mechanical. The ship was built using a combination of human engineering and salvaged alien technology, Captain Taemin explained as he led them through the vessel. But we added something the aliens never expected. Mina ran her hand along the wall and gasped. It's warm, and I can feel it humming. The hull is partially biological, Taemin said. It can repair itself, adapt to different threats, and even evolve new capabilities during combat. They entered the bridge, and Junho stopped in amazement. Instead of traditional control panels, there were stations that looked like they were grown rather than built. Seats seemed to mold themselves to fit whoever sat in them. Area 7. Show them what makes us special, Taemin said. The air above the central console shimmered, and a woman appeared. She looked young, with kind eyes and a gentle smile. But she was clearly not real. They could see through her. I am Area 7, the hologram said. I am not just the ship's computer. I am the ship's mind, heart, and soul. I think, I feel, and I dream. Daewon stepped back nervously. AIs aren't supposed to be that advanced. Human AIs aren't, Taemin agreed. But Area 7 is different. She was created by combining human intuition with alien logic systems. The result is something that thinks like a human, but processes information like a computer. Sunhee was fascinated. You gave the AI emotions? We gave her the ability to understand emotions, Area 7 corrected. To predict what humans will do, to work with your strengths instead of against them. Most human technology tries to make you think like machines. I make the machine think like humans. Mina sat down at the engineering station and immediately screens lit up around her. But instead of showing numbers and graphs, they showed pictures and simple diagrams that somehow made the complex systems easy to understand. This is incredible, she breathed. I can see exactly how everything works just by thinking about it. The ship bonds with its crew, Taemin explained. The longer you work together, the better it knows you and the more effective you become. Junho took the captain's chair and felt it adjust perfectly to his body. Screens appeared in front of him, but instead of overwhelming him with information, they showed him exactly what he needed to know. Captain, he said to Taemin, what happened here 200 years ago? Why did everyone leave? Taemin's face darkened. We had a spy. Someone was feeding information to the Veil 3 about our military capabilities. Every time we developed new weapons or tactics, they were ready for us. How do you know? Because they started using our own strategies against us. They knew things that only humans should know. Taemin sat down at the tactical station. The Sejong was our last secret. We couldn't let them find out about it. Area 7's image flickered with what looked like sadness. The evacuation was difficult. Some people wanted to use me to fight immediately. Others wanted to hide me until humanity was stronger. What happened to the spy? Asked Daewon. Never found them, Taemin said. For all we know, they're still out there. Sun-Hee was studying the biological elements of the ship's systems. How does the living hull work? Show her, Arya 7, Taemin said. The wall next to Sun-Hee suddenly developed what looked like a cut. But as they watched, the edges of the cut moved together and sealed themselves, leaving no trace of damage. The hull learns from every attack, Arya 7 explained. If an enemy weapon damages me, I adapt to be resistant to that weapon. I also share this information with other parts of myself. So if they hit you with the same weapon twice, Mina began, the second time will do much less damage, and the third time might do none at all. Junho was beginning to understand why this ship had been hidden. What about weapons? What can the Sejong do that other ships cannot? The void cannons manipulate dark matter, Taemin said. They don't fire projectiles. They create areas of space where matter simply stops existing. That sounds... Daewon searched for words. Terrifying, finished Sun-Hee. The quantum mirror drive allows near instantaneous travel, Arya 7 continued. I can fold space to appear anywhere within a solar system in seconds. Mina shook her head in disbelief. We could travel from Earth to Mars in the time it takes to blink. And the adaptive neural combat system learns enemy tactics in real time, Taemin added. The longer a battle lasts, the better we get at fighting our opponents. Junho stood up and walked to the main view screen, which showed the underground chamber around them. All of this technology, why didn't Earth use it? Because it requires a very specific type of crew, Arya 7 said. Humans who can think creatively, adapt quickly, and work together without rigid hierarchy. Most military crews are trained to follow orders exactly, Taemin explained. But this ship works best with people who can improvise and make decisions on their own. Like a salvage crew, Junho realized. Exactly. People used to solving problems with limited resources who don't panic when things go wrong. Alarms suddenly began sounding throughout the ship. Area 7's hologram appeared with a worried expression. Long-range sensors have updated their readings on the approaching fleet. The Val 3 Grand Fleet is larger than initially detected. Estimated vessel count now at 15,000 ships. The bridge fell silent. 15,000, whispered Mina. Led by Admiral Kethvar, Arya 7 continued, who has never lost a battle in 300 years of service. Sun-Hee looked at the small group around her. 6 people against 15,000 ships? Taemin smiled, but it was not a happy smile. The Val 3 think in numbers. Bigger fleets, more weapons, stronger shields. They believe that superior force always wins, doesn't it? Asked Daewon. Not always. Taemin brought up a holographic display showing the approaching fleet. They're traveling in perfect formation, using predictable tactics, following standard procedures. And that's bad for them because? Junho prompted. Because humans don't follow standard procedures, Area 7 said. We improvise, we adapt. We do things that don't make sense until they work. Mina was studying the fleet formation. They're keeping their command ships in the center, protected by smaller vessels. Classic Val 3 strategy, Taemin nodded. They've used the same formation for thousands of years because it has always worked. But you have a plan to beat it, Junho said. It wasn't a question. I have 17 different plans, Taemin replied. Area 7 has calculated 342 possible variations. And if none of those work, we'll think of something new. The holographic display zoomed in on the fleet's flagship, a massive vessel that dwarfed everything around it. That's their weakness, Taemin pointed at the command ship. They put all their leadership in one place, thinking it makes them stronger. What happens if we take out their leaders? Asked Sun-Hee. Chaos, said Arya 7. Val 3 military structure is very rigid. Without clear orders from above, lower-ranking officers become confused and make mistakes. Junho felt the ship around him, alive and waiting. He looked at his small crew, then at the old captain who had waited 200 years for this moment. Then let's give them some chaos they'll never forget. Admiral Kethvar stood on the command bridge of his flagship, the Dominion's Wrath, watching the stars stream by as his massive fleet traveled toward human space. He was tall even for a Val 3, with pale blue skin and forearms that moved with precise, controlled gestures. Status report, he commanded in his native language. Sub-Admiral Veltar approached with the daily briefings. All 15,000 vessels report ready status, Admiral. We will reach the outer human colonies in 68 hours, and Earth itself, 72 hours at current speed. Kethvar nodded with satisfaction. This would be his greatest victory, the one that would be remembered for millennia. In his 300 years of military service, he had conquered 47 different species. But humans had always been the most troublesome. "Tell me again why these creatures are so difficult to defeat," he said to his intelligence officer. "Commander Zixvel, they do not follow logical patterns, Admiral. Most species, when faced with superior force, either surrender or fight using predictable tactics. Humans do neither." Explain. Zixvel activated a holographic display showing previous battles with human forces. In the Battle of Proxima Station, our forces outnumbered theirs 10-1. Standard doctrine would suggest they retreat or request terms of surrender, but they did not. No, Admiral. Instead, they used their own station's reactor as a weapon, destroying both our ships and their own installation. The explosion was so large it damaged vessels that were supposedly at safe distance. Kethvar frowned. This was the kind of irrational behavior that made humans so unpredictable. They sacrificed themselves for no strategic gain. Actually, Admiral, there was strategic gain. The explosion disabled our long-range sensors for several days, allowing human evacuation fleets to escape from 3 nearby systems. Another officer, Fleet Captain Mordek, stepped forward. "Admiral, if I may add to the intelligence report?" "Speak." "Humans also have a disturbing tendency to improve rapidly during combat. Our tactical computers show that human performance increases significantly the longer a battle continues." "That makes no sense," Kethvar said. "Combat effectiveness should decrease as resources are depleted and crew becomes tired." "Yes, Admiral, that is how warfare works for all other species. But humans seem to learn and adapt in real time. Weapons that are effective against them at the beginning of a battle often become useless by the end." Kethvar walked to the massive view screen that showed his fleet stretching out in perfect formation, 15,000 ships from small fighters to massive dreadnoughts capable of destroying planets. It was the largest military force ever assembled in this sector of the galaxy. "This time will be different," he declared. "We are not engaging small human outposts or individual ships. We are bringing overwhelming force directly to their home system." "Yes, Admiral," agreed Veltar. "Even human unpredictability cannot overcome such odds." The intelligence briefing continued with reports from Valkyrie spies throughout human space. Most of the information was routine. Troop movements, supply convoys, defensive preparations. But something was missing. "Where are their main battle fleets?" Kethvar asked. Zixvel consulted his data. "Scattered throughout their territory, Admiral. It appears they are trying to protect multiple systems instead of concentrating their forces. Foolish. They should gather everything they have to defend Earth. Human thinking often appears foolish until it succeeds, Admiral." Kethvar did not like being reminded of previous setbacks. This time they have nowhere to run. Earth is their heart. Without it, their entire species will lose hope and surrender. The bridge fell silent as officers focused on their duties. The Vial-3 were an ancient species with over 10,000 years of military history. They had perfected the art of warfare through careful study and rigid adherence to proven strategies. "Admiral," called the communications officer, "we are receiving surrender requests from several human colonies in our path." "Ignore them," Kethvar commanded. "We have not come to accept surrender. We have come to end this threat permanently." Fleet Captain Mordek looked uncomfortable. "Admiral, the Galactic Council has regulations about accepting surrender from civilian populations. The Galactic Council is not here, and humans are not civilians. They are all potential soldiers." Kethvar's forearms gestured dismissively. "Every human settlement we have captured has eventually rebelled. Better to eliminate the problem entirely." The tactical display updated to show the fleet's current position. They were still in deep space, days away from any human presence. "Tell me about their defenses," Kethvar said. "Earth is protected by 3 defensive rings," Zixvel reported. "The outer ring consists of weapon platforms and minefields. The middle ring has their newest battleships and carriers. The inner ring protects the planet itself with orbital fortresses. Total estimated force? Approximately 800 vessels of various classes plus fixed defenses." Kethvar laughed, a sound like grinding metal. 800 against 15,000. Even for humans, this seems hopeless. "There is one concern, Admiral," Zixvel said quietly. "What concern?" "Our intelligence network has gone silent. For the past 6 months, we have received no reports from our deep cover agents in human space. Perhaps they have been discovered." "All of them, Admiral? At the same time?" That would be unlikely. Kethavar considered this. The Veil-3 had spent decades building their spy network within human territory. Losing all contact with their agents was indeed strange. Could the humans have discovered our entire network? Possible, Admiral, but they would need to know who to look for. Our agents are completely integrated into human society. Then, perhaps they are simply maintaining communication, silence to avoid detection during our approach. Perhaps, but Zixvel did not sound convinced, and Kethavar noticed his doubt. You think there is another explanation? I think humans are more clever than we give them credit for, Admiral, and I think they may know we are coming. Kethavar turned back to the view screen, watching his invincible fleet move through space like a metal storm. It does not matter if they know. Let them prepare. Let them build more defenses and gather more ships. It will only make our victory more complete. Yes, Admiral. Send word throughout the fleet. When we reach Earth, there will be no negotiations, no terms of surrender. No mercy for those who resist. The human species ends with this battle. The bridge officers acknowledged their orders with crisp military efficiency. The Veil-3 were proud of their discipline, their organization, their ability to follow complex plans without deviation. Admiral, the navigation officer called out, we will reach the edge of human sensor range in 36 hours. Good. Begin final preparations. I want every weapon charged, every system optimized. When the humans see us coming, I want them to despair. As the massive fleet continued its approach to Earth, Admiral Kethavar felt confident in his victory. He had superior numbers, superior technology, and superior strategy. What could 6 humans in a hidden prototype ship possibly do against the might of the Veil-3 Empire? He would soon find out. The Sejong moved through space like a shadow, invisible to all sensors. Junho sat in the captain's chair, watching the holographic display that showed the massive Veil-3 fleet approaching human space. Even knowing what the ship could do, the sight of 15,000 enemy vessels was terrifying. How close can we get without being detected? He asked Area 7. At current stealth settings, I can approach within 10,000 kilometers before their sensors might notice us, the AI replied. However, if I engage the quantum mirror drive, I can appear anywhere within their formation instantly. Captain Taemin stood behind the tactical station where Daewon was learning to operate the weapon systems. The key is not to fight their entire fleet at once. We need to be smart about this. Mina looked up from her engineering console. I've been studying the ship's systems and I think I understand how this works. We're not trying to overpower them. We're trying to outthink them. Explain, said Junho. Look at their formation. Mina pointed to the display. Everything is perfectly organized. Every ship has a specific position, a specific role, specific orders to follow. Sunhee nodded. It's like a machine. Very efficient, but also very predictable. And if part of a machine breaks, Daewon began, the whole machine stops working, finished Taemin with a smile. Area 7's hologram appeared next to them. I have been analyzing their fleet composition and communication patterns. The Veil-3 use a hierarchical command structure with very little independence at lower levels. What does that mean? Asked Junho. It means that when a senior officer gives an order, everyone below them follows it exactly, without question or adaptation. Taemin brought up detailed scans of the enemy fleet. See these ships in the center? Those are command vessels. Each one controls hundreds of other ships in their battle group. So if we take out the command ships, Daewon said, the ships they control become confused and ineffective. Area 7 confirmed. But there is a problem. The command ships are heavily protected and surrounded by escort vessels. How heavily protected? Asked Mina. Each command ship has shields strong enough to withstand direct hits from our main weapons, and they have enough escort ships to overwhelm us if we attack directly. Junho leaned back in his chair, thinking. The old captain had said the ship worked best with creative thinking. What if we don't attack directly? What do you mean? Asked Sunhee. Area 7, can you show us the communication networks between their ships? The holographic display changed to show streams of data flowing between the Veil-3 vessels. It looked like a spiderweb made of light, with the command ships at the center of each section. They use quantum communication channels, Area 7 explained. Very secure, almost impossible to intercept or jam. Almost impossible, Junho repeated. But not completely impossible. Taemin's eyes lit up with understanding. You want to hack their communications? Can we do that? I can access their networks, Area 7 said. but it would require getting very close to their ships. Close enough for them to detect and attack us. Mina was studying the technical details. What if we use the quantum mirror drive? Appear next to a ship, hack it, then disappear before they can respond? Possible, said Arya 7. But each time I use the mirror drive, there is a small chance they will detect the quantum signature. How many times can we do it before they figure out what's happening? Asked Day 1, unknown. Fel3 sensors are sophisticated, but they have never encountered human quantum technology before. Taemin was looking at the fleet formation with new interest. We don't need to hack all of them. Just enough to create confusion. What kind of confusion? Sun He asked. Watch. Taemin highlighted several ships on the display. If we could make these escort vessels think their command ship was under attack, what would they do? Move to defend it, said Junho. Right. And if we made the command ship think it was receiving different orders from fleet headquarters? It would change course or formation, Mina realized. And if we did this to several battle groups at the same time? The full plan began to take shape in Junho's mind. The fleet would fall into chaos as different sections started following conflicting orders. Exactly, said Taemin. We turned their greatest strength, their organization, into their greatest weakness. Area 7 ran calculations on the proposed strategy. This plan has a 67% chance of success, assuming optimal execution and no unexpected countermeasures. Those are good odds, said Day 1. For this plan, yes. Area 7 agreed. But I should mention that there are risks. If they discover what we are doing, they will adapt their communications to prevent further intrusion. How long would we have? Asked Junho. Estimated time before countermeasures are implemented, 20 to 30 minutes. That's not very long, Sun He observed. Taemin smiled grimly. Then we better make those minutes count. They spent the next several hours planning their approach. Area 7 identified the most critical command ships and the best order to target them. Mina worked on optimizing the ship's stealth systems to minimize detection. Day 1 learned how to operate the weapons in case they needed to fight their way out. There's something else, Area 7 said as they finalized their plans. I have been monitoring Fel3 communications, and they are planning something special when they reach Earth. What kind of special? Asked Junho. They intend to destroy the planet completely, not just defeat the human fleet, eliminate Earth itself. The bridge fell silent. Can they do that? Whispered Sun He. Their largest dreadnoughts carry planet-killer weapons, Area 7 confirmed, designed to crack a world's crust and render it uninhabitable. Taemin's face was grim. Then we're not just fighting for victory, we're fighting for survival. No pressure, muttered Day 1. Junho stood up and looked at each of his crew members. Everyone understand what we're doing? We're about to take on the largest military fleet in galactic history with 1 ship and 6 people. 7, corrected Arya 7. I count 2. 7, Junho agreed. Any second thoughts? Mina checked her systems one final time. Engineering ready. Day 1 powered up the weapons. Tactical ready. Sun He activated the sensor arrays. Science station ready. Taemin took his position at the secondary command station. Old man ready. Arya 7's hologram smiled. AI ready and eager to show these aliens what human creativity can accomplish. Junho sat back down in the captain's chair. Then let's go teach the Fel3 Empire why they should have left humanity alone. The Sejong disappeared from normal space, folding reality around itself as it began its approach to the enemy fleet. In a few hours, they would either save Earth or die trying. But as the ship moved through quantum space toward its destination, something strange happened. The living hull began to glow softly, and Arya 7's system started processing information faster than ever before. Captain, the AI said with wonder in her voice, I think the ship is getting excited. The Sejong appeared at the edge of the Fel3 fleet like a ghost materializing from nothing. To enemy sensors, it looked like a single human ship fleeing toward Earth, exactly what they expected to see. Contact, shouted a Fel3 communications officer aboard the Dominion's Wrath. Human vessel detected fleeing our advance. Admiral Kethavar smiled. One of their scout ships trying to warn Earth of our approach. How predictable. Shall we destroy it, Admiral? No, send pursuit squadrons to capture it. I want to interrogate the crew before we reach Earth. On the Sejong's bridge, Junho watched the enemy response on his displays. 3 squadrons moving to intercept us. 42 ships total. Perfect, said Captain Taman. Area 7, begin evasive maneuvers. Make it look like we're desperate to escape. The ship suddenly lurched and rolled as if trying to avoid enemy fire, but it was all an act. The Sejong was never in any real danger. First squadron closing to weapons range, reported Daewon from the tactical station. Let them get closer, Junho ordered. We want them confident. The Vel-3 ships opened fire with their plasma cannons, bright bolts of energy that should have destroyed any human vessel. But the Sejong's adaptive hull absorbed the impacts, learning from each hit. Hull taking minimal damage, Mina reported. The living armor is already adapting to their weapons. Return fire, ordered Junho, but make it look weak. Daewon fired the Sejong's conventional weapons, not the experimental void cannons, just regular energy blasts that wouldn't seem unusual to the enemy. Even so, the shots found their targets with impossible accuracy. 3 Vel-3 ships exploded in brilliant flashes of light. Impossible, gasped the enemy squadron leader. How did they penetrate our shields so easily? But before he could report this to the main fleet, his own ship vanished as one of the Sejong's shots pierced his reactor core. First squadron eliminated, Area 7 reported calmly. Second squadron approaching. Admiral Kethvar frowned as he received reports of the first squadron's destruction. 42 ships destroyed by 1 human vessel. The reports are confirmed, Admiral, his tactical officer replied nervously. Send additional squadrons. I want that ship captured or destroyed. How many squadrons, Admiral? All of them. Soon over 3,000 Vel-3 ships were chasing the seemingly desperate Sejong through space. To the enemy, it looked like their overwhelming numbers were finally cornering their prey. They're taking the bait, Taemin observed with satisfaction. Look at their formation. The main Vel-3 fleet had spread out across a huge area of space, with ships scattered in pursuit groups trying to surround the Sejong. Their perfect military formation was breaking apart. Now we show them what this ship can really do, said Junho. Engaging quantum mirror drive, Area 7 announced. Reality twisted around the Sejong as it folded space-time. In an instant, the ship appeared in the middle of the Vel-3 fleet, directly next to one of their command vessels. Before the enemy could react, Area 7 had connected to their computer systems and downloaded their entire tactical database. Got it, she said triumphantly. Complete fleet positions, command codes, and communication protocols. The Sejong vanished again, reappearing near another command ship. This time, Area 7 didn't just steal information, she planted false orders in their computer systems. What are you telling them? Asked Sunhee. That their flagship is under attack by a large human fleet. Area 7 replied with what sounded like amusement. All ships in this sector are ordered to return and defend Admiral Kethvar immediately. Across that section of the Vel-3 fleet, ships suddenly changed course and began racing back toward their flagship. But when they arrived, they found nothing. No attacking human fleet, no danger to their admiral. What is happening? Demanded Admiral Kethvar as hundreds of ships crowded around his position. We received orders to defend the flagship, Admiral, replied a confused squadron commander. I gave no such orders, but before they could sort out the confusion, new false orders appeared in another part of the fleet. This time, Area 7 told them that human reinforcements had arrived from a different direction. Multiple contacts approaching from Sector 7, reported a Vel-3 captain. Estimated 200 human vessels. Impossible, said Kethvar. Our scouts report no human ships in that area. Visual confirmation, wait, there's nothing there, Admiral. Our sensors were malfunctioning. Meanwhile, the Sejong continued its deadly game of appearing next to enemy ships, stealing their data, and planting false information before vanishing again. Each jump brought more chaos to the Vel-3 fleet. They're starting to turn on each other, Daewon observed, watching the tactical display. 2 groups of Vel-3 ships, both following conflicting orders, had opened fire on each other thinking the other group had been compromised by human agents. Admiral, called Kethvar's communications officer, we're receiving dozens of contradictory reports. Ships are requesting new orders, reporting false contacts, and some are attacking our own forces. Kethvar stared at the chaos spreading through his perfect fleet. How is this possible? I don't know, Admiral. It's like our entire communication system has been compromised. On the Sejong, Mina was monitoring the enemy fleet status. Their formation is completely broken. Ships are scattered across half the solar system. Time to escalate, said Taemin grimly. Junho nodded. Area 7, activate the void cannons. Void cannons charging, the AI confirmed. Target the command ships. The Sejong appeared next to a massive Veil 3 dreadnought and fired its experimental weapons. Instead of energy beams or projectiles, the void cannons created areas of space where matter simply ceased to exist. The dreadnought didn't explode, it just vanished, leaving behind empty space where a ship the size of a city had been moments before. Direct hit, reported Daewon unnecessarily. What happened to it? Asked Sun-hee in amazement. It stopped existing, Area 7 explained. The void cannons manipulate dark matter to create zones of absolute nothing. Admiral Keithvar watched in horror as his command ships began disappearing one by one. What kind of weapon can make matter vanish? Unknown, Admiral, his science officer replied with terror in his voice. Our instruments cannot even detect the weapon signatures. All ships converge on my position, Keithvar ordered. We make our stand here. But his fleet was scattered across millions of kilometers, confused by false orders and conflicting reports. Many ships couldn't even find the flagship in the chaos. They're trying to regroup, observed Junho. Let them try, said Taemin. Area 7, how many command ships are left? 17 primary command vessels and 43 secondary command ships remaining. And how long before they figure out how to counter our hacking? Estimated 8 minutes before they implement effective countermeasures. Junho looked at his crew. They had gone from running away from 3 squadrons to hunting the most powerful fleet in the galaxy. 8 minutes to finish this. The Sejong can do it, Mina said with confidence. I can feel the ship getting stronger, more focused. She was right. The living hull was glowing brighter now, and Area 7's responses were becoming faster and more intuitive. The ship is learning, Taemin realized. It's adapting to combat just like it was designed to do. Then let's give it the biggest lesson in galactic history, said Junho. The Sejong vanished again, beginning its final hunt through the scattered Veil 3 fleet, seeking out the remaining command ships that held the enemy together. 8 minutes to save Earth. 8 minutes to end an empire. The hunt was on.